The best salespeople in the world are the ones who do it without you even noticing. Everyone's a salesperson, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In the I'm Not Salesy podcast, join me, Cassie McKenzie, and my fabulous guests as we dive into the top strategies, mindset, and energetics around sales and money so that you can hear more yes, I'm in instead of crickets or getting ghosted. So if you're ready to fully book out your programs with aligned AF clients and have people chasing you down in your inbox asking how to work with you, then subscribe to this podcast today and become not salesy too. Welcome back. Here we are. I have got such a fun conversation for you today on I'm Not Salesy. And you know me, Cassie McKenzie, I am your big sales breathwork founder and always looking for new ways for you to grow your business and bring strategy in so you can really blow it up and make it easy. And so I have my friend Jenna. Jenna, I don't think I've ever seen your last name though. Is it Lemieux?
Yes, it is Lemieux. I don't know how to pronounce it the correct way. So if you're French, I apologize if you're listening and you're French.
Yeah.
But it does, it does mean the best. And literally we went to Florida the last time that we were in Florida. We went to like Marco Island and that type of area. Or is that, I don't know, I don't remember if that's what it was called. But basically we went to a coffee shop and someone there I don't saw her last name and my dad was like, oh yeah, it means the best. She's like, it doesn't just mean the best, it means like the best of the best.
The chef's kiss best. I love it.
The chef's kiss.
I love it. That's so good. Well, you are the best at Reels. And so I couldn't wait to get you on this podcast. It's been a long time coming because Jenna has a teaching background, which, my whole family is either teachers or we go to be pharmaceutical reps. And, if you followed my story, you know which one, but I took, but I honestly don't see that much of a difference between the two because both of them, except, well, you're dealing with kids in teaching and you're kind of dealing with kids in pharmacy.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Adults can definitely be very much like kids. Yes.
So, but in this case though, now you're bringing all those teacher skills to the forefront. And I have to say, you're so good at what you do. And now you're helping, you've blown up your business with Reels just since this year, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. She had a successful business last year too, but this year it's just totally blown up. And in the era where people are like, Reels are dead, they're old, they've been around for so long. Obviously it's not. And you never know. You could have all this TikTok business coming over here, in another year. But yeah, I want to talk about this in the time that we have about some of the steps, like the gaps you notice, what made you do this, what really made you take off. Because I'll tell you, I actually just hired Jenna for an audit, for a Reels audit. And so you want to do this because she's going to tell you everywhere where you're bottlenecking yourself. And I can't wait to get bitch slapped by Jenna next week when she does my audit. But
I love it. Yeah, no, I saw it's kind of crazy because I kind of just went all in January with Instagram. And the reason why is because my TikTok account of over 21,000 followers, and I know followers isn't everything, but I had, I'd been posting like 2 to 3 times a day for a couple years, a whole 2 years.
Yeah.
And I had a loyal fan base there. Like the type where when I went on live, it's like there was instant sales, instant people saying heck yes, that type of thing. And I felt for a while that it was a little draining for me. Because it wasn't exactly fitting the way that I wanted to show up in my business and giving me kind of space. I felt like there was just an overload of creating content all the time between Instagram and TikTok. I wasn't really focusing on one and mastering one. you
Right.
know? And
Yeah,
so
that makes
it was
sense.
actually a really big blessing when my TikTok account was literally one day they were like, it's closed, it's done, bye. And I was like, oh, I guess
Oh,
that like this is my sign to focus on one thing. And that's when I was like, okay, I started diving into Instagram. And this was like this, when it closed, it was like end of November, early December. Um, so that's kind of when I started thinking of it and putting it into gear and kind of thinking of Instagram and seeing what I can do, what strategies I can do with Instagram to really reach more people. Because my thing was with Instagram, I was mainly selling with Instagram stories,
right.
and I was selling to the same people all the time because I wasn't getting anyone new.
Yeah.
And, even though my following on Instagram isn't huge, it has grown quite a bit since, like, it's grown at least like 1,000 followers since January. However, that being said, there's kind of a followers in, followers out, which is really good because what I'm looking for is there new eyes coming in, and there are at all times
Hmm.
because of the power of the Instagram reels that I've learned and invested in strategies to learn and things like that. So it really was a huge blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So, okay. So then what do you say to somebody who is following the strategies and posting and isn't getting a lot of followers that are
Yeah.
coming through, you know?
So I would want to see you getting followers. I would want to see you getting traction there,
Hmm.
but does it have to be a ton of followers, 100 followers a week? It doesn't have to even be 20 followers a week. No.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
would want to see attraction there, even if it's followers going in, followers going out, but movement.
Hmm.
And what I would say to focus on then is growth types of content. So I've really narrowed down and focused in on two types of content. And instead of being based on mm, what kind of everyone's told me to do, because
Hmm.
I've invested in mentorship and things like that. So instead of being like, oh, this is my content pillar, blah blah blah, I'm going to post this inspirational piece of content, educational piece of content, pain point, whatever it is. These are specifically based off of two things: data. So I'm really into numbers now. I'm really into looking at my insights and looking back over what I do every single week. Is I have a little meeting with myself. I take the time and space to look at the content. This
Hmm.
piece of content got me follows. This piece of content got me sales. And what I will do is, what about this piece of content got me followers? What about this piece of content got me sales? And I'll literally look at that, and I won't necessarily repeat a lot of, let's say, I won't always repeat the same types of growth content, because growth content is very it's your creative side. It's
Hmm.
supposed to be flowy. You're supposed to create growth content from a sense of play, like you're a child, you're playing, and, it's supposed to be really in touch with your emotions and resonate with your audience. So I do have, strategies, and I do have pieces of content that I will have my clients focus on for growth specifically. But I
Hmm.
also give them a lot. I say, okay, take some space, go to the coffee shop, go on a walk, and create a piece of growth content too. And the
Hmm.
clients that have the most growth and that are going viral, a lot of them are teachers too, by the way. But the ones that are having insane growth, I mean, I have this client who has tons and tons and tons and tons of reels that are getting 6 million, 10 million, all of these
Wow.
different things. Um, and it's because she's literally purely creating it from her heart and soul. And I can see that, and she's
Oh,
creative.
beautiful.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not too structured, but we do start with some structure, and then we kind of break the rules.
Hmm.
Um so, we do want to see some growth. However, my focus is mainly going to be on the sales. It's mainly on, okay, now that we have some traction, we have some followers, whether that be 5, 10 a week. new
Mm-hmm.
followers, even if some are going out, that's okay. We want to get them in your Instagram sales funnel.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. Just in case people aren't really sure which is which, can you give a couple examples of growth content
Yeah.
so people know like what you're talking about?
Yeah. So growth content is more so focused on stories. And I teach my clients this through the lens of we have 3 stories for super sales.
Mm-hmm.
So this is part of growth content. And so one story is going to be that big hero story. I went from this to that type
Mm-hmm.
of thing. For me, that is currently the one is 110 days ago. This was where I was. I
Yeah.
was, launching all the time. I was doing XYZ. I was plateaued. My Instagram was dead. It wasn't growing. True story, guys. And then transitioning into this is where I am now because of the power of my Instagram Reels funnel. So it's like I went that big overarching origin story. And I find that a lot of especially when you are reaching that 6-figure mark or you're going into multi 6 figures, you're great at signing clients, you're good at sales. I find that sometimes the hero story, I'm going to start, this has lots of names. Hero
Mm-hmm.
story is needs updating.
Right. Okay.
And it's not exactly set up to sell that signature offer that you want to sell. So that's something to look into is, do you need to update your hero story? Because for me, it was like I was a classroom teacher, now I'm this, and it's
Yeah.
changed,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, that, and then another story is going to be the I don't have good names for these, but the overcomer story. So overcomer story, I'm just like a straightforward person. So
Yeah.
I
Hey,
don't do
no.
fluffy
Yeah.
things.
No confusion
Um,
here.
yeah, so that is like you're gonna have a ton of overcomer stories. So that's like I went through this obstacle
Mm-hmm.
and then I overcame it with this. Like a post that I have coming out today. I made this one mistake that cost me an entire 6 figures in 2023. And then I'm
Mm.
talking about not mastering one thing because I was saying, oh, I'm the expert in TikTok. I'm the expert in Instagram. I'm the expert in selling coaching programs. I'm the expert in this. I'm the expert in high ticket. I'm an expert in low ticket, all of these things. And then when I started to really be like, no, I'm going to master this one thing, that's when everything exploded. Mastering being successful with Instagram, successful with Instagram Reels, successful with that funnel. And really now it's just the Instagram sales funnel that I'm mastering. And
Right.
so so anyway, I'm
Yeah.
digressing, but the point of that is to share those types of stories that
Mm-hmm.
you're overcoming something. I've literally had direct DMs after I shared those stories almost every single time, from someone
Really.
who was like, I actually want, and it's more of the high ticket, it's more of the close proximity coaching. I want to
Mm-hmm.
work with you one to one, or I want to work with you in your mastermind.
Yeah.
So every time I share that, it's like, there's usually like, well, not every, but 90% of the time, it's like someone reaching out in the DMs. So
Wow.
share that. And then the third story for super sales is going to be your current embodiment of what you teach. So,
Mm-hmm.
is Jenna currently having success with Reels and with her Instagram sales funnel? And how is she having success? And success doesn't have to look like sales all the time.
Yeah.
If you're a business coach, success can look like I took an entire week off
Yeah.
because my Instagram funnel was working for me. And actually, this week, I actually debated taking a week off because I actually was at this point where I didn't need to, you know, and when I say off of content, off of showing up, off of online, and just really working with the current clients that I have,
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with those that are already at the like last stage of the funnel and are ready to jump into coaching. So like when I say off, I
Yeah.
mean I wouldn't have had to show up this week, but I love showing up for my business so dang much. um,
Yeah.
so I will probably share that embodiment in the future, but that is your current embodiment of what you teach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's so important though. And that's a gap because I was looking at all of mine and I know that I like, for example, with breath work, like I do it every day. I do it every night, but like the current embodiment of like you better go sit there and, record yourself doing it. The rest of the world doesn't see what you're doing behind the scenes. You may see it every day and you think it's boring as
Yes.
hell, but like, but the rest of the world is like, no, I want to see like how do you do this? So that's actually like you're gonna look at this embodiment reels of me doing breath work.
Oh, God, so meant to be. This is
But
amazing.
it's so funny. So it's been on my list, but again, it's one of those things that I'm like, oh, I'll get to it. Oh, I'll get to it. But like when you see the power of how this whole strategy can come together for you, it makes it so that yeah, you don't have to be everywhere and all over the place, right?
Yes.
Because like I find that like really, really interesting. I have a couple questions for you. And so you consider those to be your growth
So, yeah,
content, right? Like the
those,
stories is bringing people in.
yeah, so that's part of growth content.
Yeah.
One thing I've seen really take off with clients, and we're always like, one thing I love to do with my mastermind, which is called the Fearless Mastermind. And like a lot of you have probably been in mastermind, but it's a 6 month program where it's just like the like industry leaders and disruptors.
Yeah.
And like they're women who they're already making sales, they already have offers, they already have a passion,
Hmm.
and like they're just like going out there and they're just causing so much, I don't know, like they're just stirring up the world and
Yeah,
stirring
they're kicking the dust
up.
up.
And what I have to celebrate. So one of my clients that literally just joined last week, she joined the mastermind last week. Incredible. She's for 17 years. She has been in musical theater. She's been performing. She performs all over the nation. She's taught at this point probably up to near 1,000 students
Wow.
internationally,
Yeah.
um, with musical theater and auditioning and all of that stuff. And so this one piece of growth content, I wanted you to use this week if you're listening to this. Um, it's kind of like your unpopular opinion, your controversial opinion. And I feel like for me, I don't use this as enough, but for me, sometimes my controversial opinion is God. So when I post about God being my strategy, I kid you not, every time it's like boom. It's like I get like hundreds of followers from one reel.
Yeah.
So that's the type of data we're looking for. But it came from a place of I don't give an F. I'm just gonna go,
Yeah. Yeah.
So she is uh just crushing it. I'm so proud of her. She messaged me yesterday, girl, this reel about Disney songs has 80,000 views. People are commenting left and right about getting into her next part of the funnel, which is her free course on
Nice.
character work for auditioning. At this point, it's like, oh my gosh, we got to get a digital offer out here. And it
Yeah.
literally, the hook of was you'll get cast in more musicals when you choose that Disney song you love, quote unquote, show yourself over the right song because of this. And then in
Yeah.
the caption, she goes into it, and we have a specific way of setting up that caption to convert into the next part of the funnel, which is usually going to be, some type of nurturing event. Um, and that's what she
Mhm.
did. And we have 28 comments here. We have 22 shares, and it's just continues to grow. So
Amazing.
a lot of my mastermind clients blow up with these controversial opinions that they have. But I remember when I was like at this place where people were kind of telling me, share your unpopular opinions. And I didn't know what that was because I felt like I didn't really know myself. So that's where I
Right.
feel like Cassie comes in a little bit, because it's like you have to also like open up that part of yourself
Hmm.
that is like, it's okay to share this, or I do know myself actually, and I need to dive deeper into who that is and what my beliefs actually are.
Right. Oh my God, it's so important. I love that. And you know what, on the God topic,
Yes.
so many people I see more and more and more and more talking about God in their business and strategy going towards that, and I think it's so awesome, I think it's really, really amazing. Um and it's like and you're it's like you're I don't want to say using it to
Yeah.
move forward, but you're like you said, using it as the strategy instead of the excuse. Like, I guess I'd been around so many people that had been using God as an excuse for why their business wasn't doing well, or, like, I'm just going to sit and wait it out or whatever. But I love seeing these powerful leaders like you, Ruthie Cease,
Yes.
one of my coaches, Jesse, like, was going on fully in on, like, her kingdom led movement and all of this, and I'm so excited to see it. I think it's so great, because, and obviously people are waiting for people like you to come forth with that, if you're starting to get so much traction every time you post about it, but also you're like really um passionate, like vocally
Yeah.
passionate about it too, so I love that. Do you like, what do you have to say about preloading your content in? I've heard like so many things about this. Like, the goal, obviously, like, I would love to be able to have a reel that's set to post every single day on Instagram for like 2 weeks. That's my
Yeah.
goal for vacation, is to have
I
it.
love
I've
that.
got them. It's just a
Yeah.
matter. So is that good for reach and algorithm? Is that good? Or do you recommend just doing it when, like, real time?
So,
Oh, in
I
part
haven't
two,
really,
does
yeah,
it matter if you have to, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
that's
but,
okay.
like, does it, while we're on the topic, do you have to really post at the same time every day? I've
Okay.
read that too.
Yeah. So I, okay. So the preloading content, like if you're going on an app like Buffer or Later, a lot of my clients have used it, and and they're still getting, millions of views, like
Yeah,
lots of
okay.
views. So I would say, well, based off of that, for me specifically, um, there's something about like the energy for me of just having all my drafts, but then me posting it.
Okay,
And I
yeah.
don't know what it is about it, but like I just feel like I'm energetically being like, post.
Come to me.
Yeah. So like I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but I feel like, I haven't done the preloaded, but it literally takes me like 2 seconds to just hit post when I have it
Yeah.
all ready and in drafts and all of that stuff. So I just do that, you know,
Oh, yeah, like with the caption all in there and with the
all of it
music
in.
all set, and then so you don't hit schedule, like use the
No,
in-app scheduler or anything like that.
no,
Okay.
no, I
That's
won't do that. I do have, you know, some, let me see here. I haven't found that all of these hacks work.
okay.
Like the hack types of things that you hear. Um, while I will say that posting at the same time, that is a sales thing. That's more
Mhm.
sales than growth on the algorithm. So the reason I say it's sales is because people like pattern.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when they know that Jenna usually posts at 11 or 12, and I can look forward that, and she's consistent as a
Yeah.
leader,
Yeah.
I trust her more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
perception thing for sure. Yeah.
exactly. So it's kind of like our own virtual office hours.
hmm
Because like when you're in an
Yeah.
in-person, my family runs a business, and
Yeah.
like my dad, my middle sister, who's 3 years older than me, looks like my twin. And my mom she sells insurance, and it's a wealth management business. And when, their clients can trust them because they're open at this and this time
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
thing. But you on in the online space, that's like how you're, oh, I'm posting at this and this time, or I'm posting on Instagram stories at this and this time, and you can
Mhm.
expect this from me,
Right.
you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. The consistency is there. It's really, and people, you don't have as much attrition. Like back when I was in sales, like calling on accounts on specific days, like they knew, oh, Cassie always comes here on Monday, so we
Yeah.
can expect this. And if you're not there or if you miss a day, then they're like, hey, what happened? You know,
Right.
there's the trust factor, which is so big online because there's a lot of people who are flaky. So I guess like the answer, like what I found to be like my plan is like on days like on the weekends, like our weekends can be crazy with two kids, you know, and we kind of fly by the seat of our pants because we love taking them wherever. But like pre-scheduling, like this last weekend, we were traveling and pre-scheduling on Saturday and Sunday
Yeah.
was so helpful because I didn't have to worry about it. You know, it was
Yeah.
like, especially if you have like a busy life and you want to take a week off, right? Then you don't
Yeah.
have to show up.
Yeah. And what I would say to that too is this is all about you creating space. So
Yeah.
let's say it affects your views by like 200, 300. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like if that's giving you enough space to learn a new strategy that's going to
Yeah.
blow up your business, like right now, I'm because of the real strategy and because of my batching system and because of all these things, and the fact that I created a course and currently I don't have I have one-to-one client currently, you know,
Yeah.
and like because of all this stuff, I'm able to take the space and like today I'm gonna have a good solid 2-3 hours to work on my Facebook ad strategy, you know, and
Nice.
it's
Yeah.
like that sometimes that is the biggest business move that you can make is
Yes.
what can I do to create more space? And
Right.
sometimes
100%.
the space is for actually spending time with your family.
Oh yeah.
And
100%.
that it makes your brain go, yes, positive, I'm creative, I'm future focused, and I'm just going to create this piece of content that blows the F up.
I
And it
love
blows
it.
the F up.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's a great place to end. Like, how could you finish anymore? This has gone so fast. Oh my God, Jenna. So tell everybody where they can come find you, where they could come get an audit with you. They
Yeah.
can join your course, join your mastermind, you know, and really like blow up their business from this real strategy standpoint.
Yes. So I am on Instagram now. I'm an Instagram
Obvi.
girly. I do have a podcast now that is called The Faith Fueled CEO. So go check that out if you're liking this. I just posted a podcast this last week on how I am making $500 to $1,000 per Instagram reel, per post on Instagram. I was literally able to like buy a few like four new outfits. I was able to pay for gas and I was able to buy all my coffee drinks of the month with one reel.
Oh my God. I love it. It's
It's
so
amazing when you
good.
think of it that way, right? It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you're like, oh, that was only $1,000, right? What was I able to get with $1,000? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just posted a podcast episode on that. It was really strategic. So if you're looking for that strategy, I went really in depth there. I also talk about God and how he's played a huge part in my business and how to really keep him as a part of yours and keep that faith component strong. Because, you know, again, like I'm I think for a long time I was like, well, I don't want to talk about God in my content because
I'm so glad you did.
I'm afraid
Yeah.
I'm afraid that people that maybe will feel like unheard or unseen or but what's happening is I actually still work with clients who, you know, most of the clients I work with are spiritual or faith-based in some way.
Hmm.
But what's actually happening is I'm still working with clients who they're not labeling themselves as Christian and they're just spiritual and they do feel like there's a spiritual element
Right.
to the world
Hmm.
and you know it works out really well and I'm
Love it.
still they don't feel like the way I'm you know that I thought they would. So I talk about that in the podcast as well. You can find me there on the Faith
Amazing.
Fueled CEO. And then my Instagram handle is at it's.jennalee. And I'm there pretty much every single day, Monday through Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And then I usually take the weekends off, but you can still message me there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jenna, so much. I appreciate you coming on. And everybody, go find Jenna. You won't regret it. And hire her too to check out your reels. And I will report back. I'll make a podcast episode
Yeah.
about our conversation and everything together. So we'll see you next week. Bye,
Excited.
guys.
Thank you.